Chapter 634. No matter what, Hai restaurant was still a big restaurant. Although its reputation had been damaged due to this incident, its reputation had declined. The main store reacted quickly by cutting off its tail like a gecko and quickly stabilized most of the customers who were wavering. For such a big restaurant, if an ordinary streamer or even a restaurant manager received such an olive branch, they might have agreed. However, Su Yiyen was not an ordinary streamer, and developing the restaurant was not her main purpose. Instead, Hai restaurant's goodwill made her feel like a weasel paying a visit to a chicken. She unconsciously raised her guard. "Why are you in a daze?" When Hua Chenhuan came back, he saw Su Yiyen holding her phone in a daze. "Nothing." Su Yiyen quickly put away her phone and naturally held Hua Chenhuan's hand. She did not want these messy things to disturb their date today. "Have you put it away?" Hua Chenhuan nodded and raised his hand to point in a direction. "It's over there." Su Yiyen's lantern was too big. Even in the middle of the densely packed lanterns, it was still a crane in a flock of chickens. It could be seen at a glance. The two continued to walk forward hand in hand. Hua Chenhuan suddenly asked, "What did you wish for just now?" "Then what did you wish for just now?" Hua Chenhuan was silent for a moment and said in a muffled voice, "I asked first." Su Yiyen was a little surprised when she heard his words. One had to know that this person did not have a temper before. Every time she asked, he would obediently answer. This time, he actually talked back. Su Yiyen pondered for a moment. In the end, she did not compromise. She avoided his eyes and said, "Well, if the wish comes out, it won't come true." "No, no." Hua Chenhuan could not help but laugh. He acknowledged her shameless behavior and did not ask any more questions. Walking out of the moat, Su Yiyen saw a candy stall from afar. This kind of craft candy stall had always been the most lively place in the Lantern Festival. Even if the price was more expensive, there were still many people who wanted something new and flocked to it. At this moment, there were already 10 to 20 people in front of the stall. It was quite a spectacular sight. Hua Chenhuan's eyes flickered when she saw this. She asked in a low voice, "Do you want to eat that? There are so many people here." "Forget it. Wait for me here." Hua Chenhuan handed the tiger lantern to Su Yiyen and turned around to walk towards the stall. Su Yiyen opened his mouth and wanted to stop him, but he was a step too late. He could only stand there with the two animal lanterns in his hand, secretly anxious. Of course, Hua Chenhuan wasn't stupid enough to line up. The customer at the front of the line had already started making the sugar figurine, so Hua Chenhuan spent money to buy a seat from the second customer. The customer in the second row took the money and went to the back of the line. He didn't force himself to take up an extra seat, so the people behind him didn't object. Su Yiyen saw this scene and felt a little relieved. She obediently stood in place and waited for him to come back. Hua Chenhuan was tall and handsome. When he bought the seat, he was very generous. In an instant, he attracted the attention of many girls around him. When he got the two lifelike sugar figurines and was about to go back, a girl suddenly stood in front of him with a blushing face. Under the encouragement of her friends, she shyly handed over the lantern in her hand. Su Yiyen was bored from waiting. When she looked up and saw this scene, her face turned green on the spot. What was wrong with this woman? Was she trying to steal her man in front of her? Chapter 635. Hua Chenhuan was also stunned by this sudden turn of events. Looking at the lantern in the other party's hand, she immediately remembered what Su Yiyen had said before she left. Her eyes turned cold as she said coldly, "You're blocking my way." The shy girl's smile suddenly froze. Her eyes widened as she looked at the person in front of her in disbelief. However, she realized that the other party didn't even look at her. Instead, he walked to the side and walked away without any hesitation. The surrounding raffles gazes fell on the girl like sharp thorns. The girl's face turned green. In the end, she couldn't take it anymore and ran away while covering her face. Su Yiyen's expression became better. Just as she was about to go up to her, she was surrounded by a few hooligans. Sister, are you alone? It's so boring to be alone at such a lively lantern festival. Do you want to join us? Su Yiyen's face darkened. She avoided the leader's outstretched hand and sneered, I'm sorry, but I'm married. Su Yiyen even raised her hand to reveal the diamond ring on her finger. It was so dazzling that it almost blinded their eyes. As expected, the few of them were stunned. However, the leader still had some doubts. He frowned and said, Sister, if you don't want to, you don't have to use such an excuse. All right then, I'll stand up straight. I don't want to. Please don't disturb my date with my husband. Thank you. The faces of the men changed. Your husband? As soon as they finished speaking, they heard a frosty voice ask from behind them, What do you want to do to my wife? The faces of the men suddenly changed. They turned around and saw Hua Chenhuan's face, which was as black as the bottom of a pot. Hua Chenhuan was still holding 2 sugar figurines in his hand. Logically speaking, he should look very down to earth. However, the aura around him was too terrifying. It made people feel that he wasn't holding sugar figurines, but a machete that could cut all of them into pieces at any time. The leader of the men swallowed hard. At least he had some eyesight. He said embarrassedly, Sorry to disturb you. We'll leave immediately. We'll leave immediately. After that, he didn't care about the others' reactions. He turned around and ran. The few people who came with him were stunned for a moment before they hurriedly ran after him. Although he had left, Hua Chenhuan's face was still dark. Su Yiyen took the initiative to step forward and asked with a smile, Where are my sugar figurines? Hua Chenhuan took the woman's sugar figurine out, but Su Yiyen waved her hand and took the man's sugar figurine. This master's skills are not bad. The sugar figurines that he drew are similar to the 2 of us. Although Hua Chenhuan agreed with Su Yiyen's words, she was still sulking and did not say anything. Su Yiyen was annoyed and amused at the same time. She helplessly coaxed, All right, don't be angry. I didn't even care about that woman's confession to you. A woman confessed to me? Su Yiyen was stunned and didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Didn't a woman hand you a lantern just now? Isn't that a confession? Hua Chenhuan furrowed his brows and said with disdain, I ignored her. I ignored them just now as well. Look, I even showed off our wedding rings. Su Yiyen even waved her hand to let him see the diamond ring on her finger. Then, as if she thought of something, she pouted and muttered, You should also show off our wedding rings just now and let that woman know how difficult it is and back off. Su Yiyen saw that her husband had asked the sugar figurine master to make 2 sugar figurines, 1 male and 1 female. She didn't believe that woman couldn't guess that Hua Chenhuan was already taken. Chapter 636. She knew that he had someone, but she still came up to him and confessed with a shy and timid face. She was most familiar with this kind of white lotus. Hua Chenhuan looked at Su Yiyen's burning eyes, and the anger in his heart miraculously subsided a lot. He asked, Are you jealous? So what? Su Yiyen glared at Hua Chenhuan fiercely, showing her steel teeth and threatening, You attract bees and butterflies. Next time, what will you do? I will lock you up and not let anyone see you. Hua Chenhuan's eyes flashed and disappeared. Okay. Su Yiyen was stunned. What? I'm fine. Hua Chenhuan approached Su Yiyen and held her in his arms. He lowered his head and pressed against her forehead, making it impossible for her to escape. If something like this happens again, you will lock me up and not let anyone see me. On the other hand, if something like this happens again, I will also hide you and not let anyone covet you. Su Yiyen looked at his serious eyes in a daze. Her intuition told her that he was not joking. He really wanted to hide her. Su Yiyen's face suddenly turned red. She lowered her eyes and avoided Hua Chenhuan's eyes, not daring to look at him. She missed the dangerous look on Hua Chenhuan's face as he asked, Are you scared? Who's afraid of who? It's settled. If something like this happens again, I will lock you up. Su Yiyen was ambitious. She felt that compared to her, Hua Chenhuan was more likely to be coveted. If Hua Chenhuan was not afraid, what was there for her to be afraid of? Hua Chenhuan showed a smile again. Okay. Su Yiyan, who didn't realize that he had fallen into a wolf's den, took a deep breath. While eating the candy, he smiled faintly and said, "Let's not talk about this. I just heard the sound of fireworks. Let's hurry over. We won't be able to see it if we're late." Su Yiyan pulled Hua Chenhuan and walked forward. The place where the fireworks were set off was not far from the lantern fair. However, the positions closer to the fireworks had long been occupied by the foreigners who came to join in the fun. Even if they went there now, it would be useless. They could not squeeze to the front. Su Yiyan brought Hua Chenhuan to the other side of the hill. This was the place she and old Master Cheng had accidentally discovered. Not only could they see the fireworks from here, but there were also stone stools on the mountain path that could accommodate 2 people. This place has a good view, right? Not only can you see the fireworks, but when the fireworks show ends, you can also see the stars. I was the one who discovered it. If Su Yiyan had a tail, it would probably be wagging. This place is great. Su Yiyan smiled contentedly. She leaned on Hua Chenhuan's shoulder and focused on watching the fireworks. When they came up, the fireworks had already been set off for a while. Fortunately, the truly beautiful fireworks had only just started. Other than the most common flower-shaped fireworks, there were also tree-shaped ones, waterfalls, and even 1 or 2 animal-shaped fireworks. There was everything that one could think of. It was too beautiful to behold. The fireworks went on for about half an hour before it stopped. When the entire fireworks show ended, it was only a little over 9 o'clock. The 2 of them didn't want to go back so early, so they sat on the stone stools and looked at the stars for a while. Su Yiyan leaned on Hua Chenhuan's shoulder and looked at the twinkling stars in the night sky. She couldn't help but reminisce. In the past, every time I went out to look at the stars with Grandpa, he would always follow me. Every star we went up to was a person who had already passed away. My grandparents and grandmother are all watching me from above. If I'm not doing well, they'll be sad too. Chapter 637. After finishing her words, Su Yiyan keenly felt the change in Hua Chenhuan's expression. His originally soft face became stiff for a moment. Silence spread between the 2. After a long time, Su Yiyan heard the person beside her reply in a hoarse voice, "You're right." Su Yiyan smiled slightly and took the initiative to hold Hua Chenhuan's slightly cold hand. She asked tentatively, "Do you believe in reincarnation?" "I didn't before, but for you, I'm willing to believe." Su Yiyan's heart trembled. For a moment, she almost thought that Hua Chenhuan knew everything. Why? This lifetime is too short. I still want to be with you in the next lifetime. Su Yiyan breathed a sigh of relief and felt funny at the same time. You haven't spent much in this lifetime, but you're thinking about the next lifetime? I'm not only thinking about the next lifetime, but also about many lifetimes in the future. According to your method, won't I hang myself on your tree for all my lifetimes? Hua Chenhuan's tone was a little dangerous. If you don't hang yourself on my tree, which tree do you want to hang yourself on? Su Yiyan curled her lips and did not intend to answer this question. In fact, I've always been curious. What? Why did you fall in love with me? Hua Chenhuan was stunned and looked at Su Yiyan with a little surprise. Don't you remember? He had always thought that the reason why Su Yiyan suddenly wanted to marry him when they broke off the engagement was that she remembered Lianchu. Now it seemed that it was not. Su Yiyan was also confused. Remember? Remember what? She had always thought that Hua Chenhuan's love for her in the early days should be one-sided peeping and secret love. Now, listening to his words, it seemed that they had crossed paths before, and this intersection was many years ago. Did I meet Hua Chenhuan at that time? How did they meet? What happened? Su Yiyan couldn't recall what had happened at that time, and he was extremely curious. However, at this moment, Hua Chenhuan turned around and held Su Yiyan's hand. His large palm effortlessly wrapped around Su Yiyan's hand, which was one size larger than his. He smiled faintly and said, "Wait until you remember." It didn't matter. No matter what the reason was, she was already his. She couldn't run away. Hua Chenhuan, on the other hand, did not take it too seriously. Su Yiyen, on the other hand, was extremely curious and looked at him pitifully. However, this time, Hua Chenhuan seemed determined to make her remember by herself. She turned a blind eye to Su Yiyen's pleas. Su Yiyen was a little disappointed that this trick didn't work. She secretly planned to go back and ask her mother. Maybe she could find some clues. The night before, they watched the fireworks and stars a little late. The next day, Su Yiyen also woke up a little late. When she came out, she saw that the few old grandpas who came to their house yesterday were really here today. They were all fishing with old Master Cheng in the backyard. Old Master Cheng's face was dark and he didn't say a word. Grandpa Li, on the other hand, kept teasing him. "Old man, why are you so narrow-minded? Didn't I say a few words that you didn't want to hear? You actually blacklisted me. Hurry up and add me back. Hurry up and add me back." Old Master Cheng glared at him, his face full of displeasure. "You want me to add you back? Do you think I don't care about my face?" Pfft. Su Yiyen and Hua Chenhuan had just walked into the backyard when they heard this. They couldn't help but burst out laughing. Chapter 638. Grandpa Li didn't notice them. Grandpa Cheng's words made him uncomfortable. He muttered, "I've already humbled myself and followed you around. Don't you have enough face for me?" Grandpa Cheng couldn't help but glare at him again. He waved his hand like he was driving a duck and waved him away. "Go, go, go, go. I'm fishing and you're nagging on the side. You're scaring away my fish." Grandpa Li felt wronged and depressed. He said, "With your skills, even if I wasn't here, you still wouldn't be able to catch anything. You still have the nerve to push the blame to me." Grandpa Cheng's face darkened. "You what? I didn't do anything." For the sake of better freeloading in the future, he endured it. Su Yiyen watched them bicker with relish before walking over with Hua Chenhuan. "Grandpa, Grandpa Li, Grandpa Zhang, Grandpa Deng, Grandpa Fan, are you fishing? Yan Yan is here." When they saw Su Yiyen, they immediately put on smiles and looked at Su Yiyen with amiable eyes. "This is Yan Yan's girl, right?" Yesterday, they came and went in a hurry, so they didn't pay much attention to Hua Chenhuan, who came back with Su Yiyen. Now that they saw Hua Chenhuan and Su Yiyen appear together, they couldn't pretend that they didn't see anything. "He's really good-looking and tall. Yan Yan and him look like a good match. What does this guy's family do?" Yan Yan's grandmother used to be a famous beauty in our area. Among her generation, Yan Yan looks the most like her. Many boys around here like her. It's your blessing to be able to marry her. You have to cherish her. Do we need you to do that? Among us, old man Cheng is the most protective. You better behave yourself. If you dare to let Yan Yan down, old man Cheng will skin you alive." Hua Chenhuan listened to the joking warnings of the old men. She knew that these people had a good relationship with old Master Cheng. They had probably watched Su Yiyen grow up, so their warnings might not be a joke. He said good-naturedly, "Grandpas, don't worry. I know how good Yan Yan is. I won't let anyone bully her." Hua Chenhuan's submissive attitude in front of her elders made Su Yiyen feel pity for her. She hastily defended her and said, "Grandpa Deng, don't be blind. My grandfather is not that fierce. My Chenhuan is honest. Don't bully him." If these words were heard by Hua Chenhuan's subordinates, they would probably be taken aback. Their boss, young master, was honest? If he was honest, there would be no dishonest person in this world. Old man Cheng isn't fierce? Grandpa Li was stunned for a moment. Then, he said mercilessly, "Ha ha ha ha, that's probably the biggest joke I've heard this year." Old man Cheng was so angry that he hit him with his fishing rod. "Of course I'm not fierce in front of Yan Yan. Don't you know why I'm fierce to you? If it were me, with your shameless temper, I'd only be fierce to you. I'm already being extremely benevolent by not hitting you. Grandpa Lee, who had already been hit by the rod, was speechless. You've already hit me. Are you trying to lie through your teeth by not hitting me? The other grandpas ignored the two old men's bickering. Instead, they teased Su Yiyen. TSK, TSK, TSK. Look at Yen Yen. He's helping an outsider. I only said a few words, and he's already defending her. Isn't that right? Why else would a son not listen to his mother when he's old? Poor old men like us. We're always thinking about our seniors, but we're still being despised. Sigh. Chapter 639. Su Yiyen blushed at their teasing. She wanted to retort, but she didn't know what to say. Hua Chenhuan smiled and held Su Yiyen's hand tightly. Yen Yen didn't mean that. She just doesn't like the fact that you're treating her like a child. You don't believe in her choice and judgment. Su Yiyen was stunned. She quickly gave Hua Chenhuan a way out. Yes, I'm not a child anymore. Grandpa Deng, Grandpa Zhang, don't treat me like a child. Okay. Our Yen Yen is a big girl now. She's not a child anymore. Even so, they still spoke in a coaxing tone. Su Yiyen didn't argue with them. She walked around the pond and asked, "Did you guys catch any fish today?" Grandpa Fan said happily, yes. Yen Yen, come to Grandpa Fan. Grandpa Fan caught a big fish today. Grandpa Deng didn't want to be outdone. How is your fish big? Mine is really big. It's at least 4 or 5 pounds. Su Yiyen rushed over to take a look. Sure enough, there was a fish in each of their buckets. Grandpa Deng's was slightly bigger. Grandpa Fan's was a little bigger, but it was still about 3 or 4 pounds. As for the others, Grandpa Cheng's face turned red. He straightened his neck and said, I also caught a fish today. Su Yiyen's eyes lit up. Really? Where is it? It's here. Old Master Ching pointed at his bucket weakly. Su Yiyen took a closer look. She saw a fingernail-sized fry lying in the dark blue bucket. Ha 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 ha. Before Su Yiyen could say anything, Grandpa Lee couldn't help but laugh. You're just a fry. You're not embarrassed to say you caught a fish. Why don't you just set it free? It'll be worth it if I catch it when it's bigger. Old Master Cheng was humiliated by Grandpa Lee. His face was as dark as the bottom of a pot. He retorted mercilessly, no matter what, it's better than someone who didn't catch a single one. Come on, let's hurt each other. Sure enough, when Grandpa Lee heard his words, he immediately covered his pierced heart and shut his mouth. When old Master Ching saw that Grandpa Lee was speechless, the corners of his lips curled up and quickly straightened. He stared at the fry in the bucket gloomily. Hua Chenhuan could tell that the old man was unhappy. She rolled her eyes and suddenly asked, Yen Yen, didn't you want to get another pet? Su Yiyen seemed to have woken up from a dream. She hurriedly nodded and said, Oh, yes, I want to raise another pet. Aya, this fish that Grandpa caught is really beautiful. It's bright red and golden, just like a koi. Why don't I just take it back and raise it as a pet? Once it grew up, it could also be eaten, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. The grandpas on the side were speechless. What the F***ck? Grandpa Lee was also stunned. When he came back to his senses, he was as sour as a lemon. Look at Grandpa Lee's granddaughter and son-in-law, then look at his own unfilial sons and grandsons. The father and son of the Lee family, whose reputation was ruined every day, sneered. Who's talking bad about us behind our backs again? Old Master Ching didn't expect that the person who helped him out in the end would be Hua Chenhuan. He raised his eyebrows and gave her a look of praise. Hua Chenhuan replied with a polite smile, concealing his achievements and fame. Chapter 640. Since Yen Yen likes it, let's find a water tank and put the fish in the yard. Okay. Su Yiyen nodded. Then she seemed to think of something. Her eyes turned and fell precisely on the two fish in the two grandfathers' buckets. Grandpa Dang and Grandpa Fan's fish are quite big. Why don't we have some boiled fish for lunch? I couldn't treat you grandfathers to a meal yesterday, so I can make up for it today. I just don't know if you grandfathers would be willing to do me the honor. As soon as Su Yiyen said this, their eyes lit up. We're willing. Anyway, we have nothing to do, so we can take advantage of this opportunity to gather. Yes. It's rare for Yan Yan to come back. How can we not do him the honor? We can take advantage of this opportunity to taste Yan Yan's cooking. You don't know how good your cooking skills are these few months that old man Sheng has been talking to us about. It has made us old men drool. That's right. This rotten old man is very bad. He knows that we can't eat it, but he still deliberately wants us to eat it. Su Yiyen listened to their complaints about her grandfather and couldn't help but laugh. Then these two fish were bought by me and the two grandfathers. By what? As soon as she finished speaking, Grandpa Ching interrupted her with dissatisfaction. It's just two fish. They're eating and drinking for free in our family. How can they have the nerve to ask you for money? Su Yiyen disagreed and called out to him. Grandpa Dang and Grandpa Fan agreed with Grandpa Cheng's words. The fish looked rare, but even if they brought it home, the kitchen staff at home might not be able to make it as delicious as Su Yiyen's. In this way, they were the ones who had the advantage. Old man Cheng is right. These fish were caught in your backyard. It's your family's fish. The two of us old men aren't down to the point where we have to haggle with someone of your generation for two fish. Besides, we have big appetites. These two fish may not be enough for us. It looks like we're the ones who have the advantage. Since they were already like this, Su Yiyen could no longer insist. Old Master Ching glanced at the two of them with appreciation. At least he didn't mind them coming over to freeload. Then, he turned his gaze to Grandpa Li and said meaningfully, "As for you." Although he didn't finish his words, his eyes were clearly mocking him. At least he contributed two fish. What about you? He was just a freeloader. Grandpa Li's heart was pierced by an arrow once again. Heart, do you think I care about your free food? It's all because your granddaughter's culinary skills are too good. After trying it once, everything else is tasteless. Moreover, other than Old Man Fan and Old Man Fan, he wasn't the only one who didn't contribute. How could they pick on him alone? They were really going too far. Grandpa Li's heart was full of anger, but he couldn't say anything because he was in the wrong. He could only sulk alone. Grandpa Dang and Grandpa Fan, who had made some basic contributions, became more confident and asked Su Yiyen about the spicy boiled fish just now. Yan, was your spicy boiled fish good? Was it steamed, braised, or made into soup? Was it as good as the braised food you made yesterday? Grandpa Fan couldn't help but swallow. Yan, the braised food you made yesterday was really good. My eldest son's grandson usually has to be forced to eat. Last night, with the braised food, he actually drank an extra bowl of porridge. He didn't even need to be forced to eat. Chapter 641. Yes. Yesterday, when I took it home, my family immediately chased after me to fight for it. If I hadn't acted fast, I'm afraid they wouldn't have left a single piece of it for me. When Grandpa Li heard Grandpa Dang's words, he immediately thought of himself who had fought with his son and grandson yesterday. Alas, in front of delicious food, this plastic grandfather-grandson relationship and plastic father-son relationship. Although the braised food is delicious, it's easy to get heaty if you eat too much. Boiled fish isn't steamed or braised. Although there's some soup, it can also be eaten with rice. Compared to the braised food, each has its own merits. Everyone has different tastes, so naturally, the dishes they like are different. I'll cook more dishes later. More dishes, more choices. They didn't have many requirements for what to eat, as long as it was delicious. Hearing Su Yiyen's words, he smiled and nodded. Okay. Then, we'll have to trouble you, Yen Yen. We're fine with anything. We're not picky. Old Master Cheng's eyebrows twitched. You still have the nerve to be picky. Boiled fish had a lot of processes. In order to make it in time for lunch, Su Yiyen immediately took the 2 fish and left. When he entered the kitchen, he found that Hua Chenhuan had followed him in. Why did you come in? I'll be your assistant. You? Su Yiyen stared at him in surprise for a long time, as if she wanted to see a trace of a joke from his face. Unfortunately, she was disappointed. Hua Chenhuan was very serious. He didn't seem to be joking at all. I have to take care of you before. He really didn't know how to cook, but he could help. Su Yiyen understood what he meant. Amused, she felt a little warm. Thinking that she didn't plan to broadcast these days, it wasn't a big deal to have one more person to help in the kitchen, but Su Yiyen looked up and down at Hua Chenhuan. This person probably hadn't even entered the kitchen a few times. He hadn't even touched anything. He really didn't do anything. It was okay to let him help you manage the company and talk about cooperation, but to let him help you cook, Su Yiyen weighed the pros and cons and chose the simplest thing for him. Help me wash some rice. It's in the rice vat over there. There are a lot of people today, so we have to cook more. That box inside, 4 boxes should be enough. Hua Chenhuan accepted the task and nodded solemnly. She picked up the pot and walked towards the rice vat. Su Yiyen felt that washing the rice should be a simple task, so he didn't care too much and began to kill the fish. With the enhancement of his knife skills, Su Yiyen quickly removed the scales and cut open the belly of the 2 fishes. However, he found that there was no movement behind him. He turned around and saw Hua Chenhuan standing in front of the faucet with a big pot of rice. She was about to squeeze some detergent into it. Wait! Su Yiyen exclaimed and pulled Hua Chenhuan back before she could squeeze the detergent into the pot. Huh! Hua Chenhuan was shocked by Su Yiyen's shout. Her face was blank. Su Yiyen took a deep breath and felt that his heart was about to jump out. Rice can't be washed with detergent. Just wash it with water 3 or 4 times to get rid of the dregs inside. Hua Chenhuan was silent for a while and was a little worried. Can it be washed clean like this? Yes, yes. The rice isn't dirty. Washing it a few times is enough. Since Su Yiyen had already said so, Hua Chenhuan didn't continue to argue. She carefully added water and began to rub the rice. Looking at how serious he was, he probably had to rub half of the rice before he could cook it. Su Yiyen. Forget it, forget it. It's rare for him to be in such a good mood. He can wash it however he wants. Chapter 642. Su Yiyen's eyes were full of smiles as she watched a certain someone's clumsy action of washing the rice. With this lesson in mind, Su Yiyen did not dare to give Hua Chenhuan any complicated tasks. She forced him to wash the vegetables in the kitchen for the whole morning. Su Yiyen observed Hua Chenhuan's movements while cutting the 2 fish into even thin slices. It was not that Hua Chenhuan had never seen Su Yiyen display her knife skills in the live broadcast room, but watching through the screen and watching it live felt different. Moreover, Su Yiyen would usually prepare the ingredients in advance before starting the live broadcast. There were not many opportunities to watch her display her knife skills in the live broadcast room. Now that she saw it, she was a little stunned. Su Yiyen finally finished the several kilograms of fish slices. She turned her head to look at Hua Chenhuan worriedly. She was caught off guard by the other party's surprised gaze. What's wrong? Why are you looking at me like that? Even though Hua Chenhuan was caught peeking, a look of embarrassment and guilt flashed across his face. Nothing. Is there anything else I can help you with? You finished washing the vegetables? Su Yiyen leaned over to take a look at the various vegetables that were not only washed but also neatly folded. TSK, this outstanding person really learned everything quickly. She was clearly worried about the pot of rice just a moment ago, but she was already proficient in it. There's nothing else for the time being. If you're bored, you can go out first. You can walk around, or you can go to Grandpa's place to watch them fish. Hua Chenhuan said without thinking, I want to watch you cook. Su Yiyen was stunned and blushed slightly. There's a lot of smoke in the kitchen. I'm far away, but you're close. The underlying meaning was that she was not afraid even though she was so close. She was just standing on the side and watching. How could she be worse than her? All right then, Hua Chenhuan insisted, and Su Yiyen did not continue to persuade her. Before cooking the spicy boiled fish, Su Yiyen took out the fish fillet and deep-fried it as usual. After that, he cooked the fish fillets and various vegetables until it was fragrant. Among the two fish, one of them had a particularly large head. Su Yiyen seemed to think for a while as he processed the fish. In the end, he decided to leave the head of this fish alone to make steamed fish head with diced hot red peppers. Boiled fish and braised fish were both relatively heaty dishes. Su Yiyen was worried that the elderly wouldn't know how to control themselves after eating for the first time and would easily get heaty, so he stewed a pot of dendrobium stewed fresh abalone and boiled some Ophiophagon bamboo leaf tea to reduce heatiness. Considering that there were more people eating at home today, Su Yiyen's dishes were much more sumptuous than yesterday's. Other than the steamed fish head with diced hot red peppers, spicy boiled fish, and braised fish, he also made some relatively light dishes like tofu tossed with scallions, mushu pork, dry stir-fried green beans, and wine-fermented meatballs. Bursts of delicious food drifted out of the kitchen, attracting the stomachs of the elderly who were pretending to continue fishing in the backyard. They became more and more absent-minded. When it was finally time for lunch, the sound of shouting came from the front. The few of them immediately threw away the fishing rods in their hands and rushed forward. They were afraid that if they fell behind, they would not be able to eat good food. As soon as the few of them sat down, dishes that they had never seen before came out of the kitchen like flowing water. They were placed in front of them, exuding a strong aroma. Gulp, the few elderly who did not eat much in the morning could not help but swallow their saliva. When they realized what they had done, they subconsciously looked at the few people beside them with embarrassed expressions. Chapter 643. This was the scene that Su Yiyen and Hua Chenhuan saw when they came out of the kitchen. A few old people, whose ages added up to a few hundred years old, surrounded a large table of dishes and looked at each other in dismay. Without the two of them present, no one dared to be the first to pick up their chopsticks. Their eager looks looked a little pitiful. Su Yiyen laughed and turned to look at Hua Chenhuan. Then, she quickly walked to old Master Cheng's side. Grandpa, everyone is here. It's time to eat. Old Master Cheng was slightly startled. He knew that his granddaughter was giving him face and letting him be the host. He immediately straightened his back and coughed lightly. All right, since everyone is here, let's eat while it's hot. How could the others not understand the grandfather and granddaughter's actions? They couldn't help but feel sour in their hearts. But soon, they weren't in the mood to admire the excellence of other people's children. The large table of dishes in front of them had already attracted all their attention. Although Su Yiyen made a lot of dishes, there were also many people eating together today. At first, they were still thinking about their status as guests and didn't dare to be too presumptuous. Later, as they ate, they revealed their true colors and started arguing with old Master Cheng at the table. Like children, after quarreling for a while, they began to snatch each other's food. If you snatch one from me, I'll snatch one from you. Su Yiyen's dishes were already delicious. After fighting with all their might, the few people who ate the food were flushed red and almost caused a scene in the martial arts school. Su Yiyen seemed to be used to this. She pulled Hua Chenhuan to sit at the side and watched the scuffle while adding food for Hua Chenhuan. Try this spicy boiled fish. The meat is fresh and there are fewer bones. It's better than the ones we've eaten before. It's not good to eat the same thing all the time. Next time, I'll get someone to make some pickled vegetables. It's also pretty good to make spicy boiled fish. Su Yiyen thought for a while. Or we can make spicy boiled fish, sweet and sour fish, fish hot pot. Anyway, even if it's the same ingredients, there are many ways to cook them. We'll eat them one by one and see which one you like. Hua Chenhuan replied in a low voice. She then pursed her lips and whispered, "Lobster." "Lobster?" Su Yiyen was stunned for a moment, but she quickly realized that he was asking about other ways to make lobsters. She smiled faintly and said, "There are many ways to make lobsters. Other than the spicy lobster that I've made for you a few times before, you can also make 13 spice lobster, minced garlic lobster, steamed lobster, and oil stick lobster. If you're curious, I can also try making drunken prawns, soy sauce prawns." Su Yiyen was busy explaining the 108 ways to cook lobsters to her man. However, she saw him looking at her with a subtle expression and giving her a meaningful look. Su Yiyen blinked and turned his head to look. Suddenly, he met the bright eyes of the people at the table. "So that ugly lobster can be cooked in so many ways? My family's chef only knows how to boil it in water and then scoop it up. Although it's still edible, it always feels like something is missing." "Yes, yes, yes. It's the same for my family. I've only eaten it once and haven't eaten it since. Now that I heard what Yan Yan said, I suddenly want to eat it." "How about," they looked at each other and said in unison, "let's eat this tomorrow." Su Yiyen. "You guys are really not polite at all." Old Master Cheng's face darkened. "Eat what? Do you really think my family's Yan Yan is your family's chef? Just this meal. After eating, scram. If you dare to have any ideas about my family's Yan Yan again, I'll hammer you to death." Chapter 644. The others weren't happy to hear that. "Old Man Cheng, that's too much. How could we possibly think of Yan Yan as a cook? We're just curious. We're curious about the food Yan Yan ate just now." "Yes, yes, yes. We're just curious, that's all." Grandpa Li wasn't as reserved as the others. He immediately exposed Old Man Cheng's intentions. "Humph, don't think I don't know. You're acting all high and mighty because you want to eat all the food for yourself. So what if I eat all the food for myself? Yan Yan is my granddaughter, not yours. Why should she cook for you?" "Old Man Cheng, I knew you were angry, but I didn't expect you to be this angry." The elders instantly started fighting again. Su Yiyen managed to escape. She exchanged a look with Wu Chenhuan and heaved a huge sigh of relief. Although they were arguing, they didn't slow down their eating speed at all. In less than half an hour, the table's worth of food was all in their stomachs. They were so full that the elders in their 70s and 80s had to help each other out for a walk to digest the food. That night, Grandpa Li's son came home and looked at his father with a complicated expression. He asked tentatively, "Dad, did you stay at Uncle Cheng's for lunch today?" Grandpa Li raised his eyebrows and said fiercely, "So what if I did? Do I have to report to you that I'm going to eat at someone else's house?" "That's not what I meant." Grandpa Li glared at him. "Then what do you mean?" "I just want to ask if you can bring me along the next time you go." "Grandpa Li?" Grandpa Li's eldest grandson's eyes lit up when he heard his father's words. Unwilling to be outdone, he said, I want it too. Bring me along too." Grandpa Li. Your father, grandfather, had to give up his pride and put in a lot of effort just to get a free meal. How could he bring along a bunch of useless burdens like you? Dream on. Get lost. The same thing was happening in the other grandfathers' homes as well, almost leading to the tragedy of a few of them being murdered. After the Pengsi incident that day, He restaurant went to Su Yiyen 2 or 3 more times. Almost all of them were asking for cooperation. Of course, they were ignored by Su Yiyen. Apart from that, the Ancient Earth Cultural Research Institute also tried to send Su Yiyen a private message. They wanted to discuss cultural matters with her, but Su Yiyen declined. She was very clear about her own abilities. Most of the skills that the system gave her were in the field of medicine, and these ancient books were just incidental. If she were to really communicate with these professionals, she was afraid that she would be showing off her skills in front of an expert. However, their search reminded Su Yiyen of another matter. After Luo Baoging took over Red Brave, the production crew had already started working overtime to prepare the props and audition for the actors. At this stage, in Su Yiyen's company, only Ning Chirue had unexpectedly won the role of the second male lead. The other main roles were still vacant for the time being. Especially the male and female lead roles. Xue Kaiwei and Luo Weibing had already booked the male and female lead roles in Fantasy Feast, so it was impossible for them to take on this role. It was not that there were no talents in this field in the company, but there were not many of them. She did not know who would benefit in the end. However, no matter who was chosen in the end, according to Luo Baogang and his wife, it was best for the female lead to learn the basics from Madame Luo for a few months before filming the parts that involved professional skills. Chapter 645. Of course, that was not the case. In the next few months, the crew would simply stop filming and wait for her to finish learning. Instead, they would move all the professional drama-related scenes to the back and let the female lead film other scenes first. She would learn as she filmed. But this meant that she would be very busy and tired in the next few months. At the very least, they had to choose a talented talent who was hardworking, could endure hardships, and had acting skills. Su Yiyen could not help with Luo Baogang, but Su Yiyen still had a professional drama book that she had previously drawn. However, although she had drawn this book, it was something provided by the system and could not be taken out directly from the system backpack. Su Yiyen had no choice but to spend a few days copying the contents of the book and sending it to Song Linghua. To the outside world, it was only a copy of the book that was treasured at home. It was not easy to take it out, so she could only make a copy for her. Even so, Song Linghua was very surprised when she received it. She secretly rejoiced that she had accepted the role of consultant for the crew. Otherwise, such a priceless treasure would have fallen into someone else's hands. Song Linghua was not someone who did not know how to return the favor. After taking Su Yiyen's book, she immediately said that when the female lead was decided, she would teach her well and would not let down the book. Su Yiyen and Song Linghua stayed in the Qing family for about a week before Old Master Jiang brought Jiang Qingwang and Jiang Qingrun over. It just so happened that Old Master Jiang's friend's residence was not far from the Qing family's residence. They could reach it in about half an hour by car. Considering that there was a pregnant woman at home, it was not convenient for the Jiang family to come over. Su Yiyen simply set the treatment location at the house where the Jiang family was temporarily staying. If Su Yiyen wanted to go, Hua Chenhuan naturally had to follow. After all, a certain brat had previously wanted to give his life to Su Yiyen in front of them. If he did not go with them, what if his wife was bullied there? When Su Yiyen and Air Ran arrived, the first person who ran out to greet them was a 15 or 16-year-old brother with a young and delicate face. At first, Su Yiyen thought that he was Old Master Jiang's friend, the child of the real owner of the house, or a relative of the Jiang family. Then, the child reached out and touched his own hair, looking at Su Yiyen as if he was asking for credit. You. Su Yiyen's mind flashed, and he pointed at the person in front of him in surprise. Hee, don't you recognize me? I'm the one from last time. That green-haired guy from last time. Su Yiyen silently accepted the child's words in his heart. He looked at him from top to bottom and carefully sized him up. Not only had this child dyed his hair back, but his hairstyle had also changed. It was no longer the blunt hairstyle that he had seen the last time. Instead, it had been cut diagonally in front of his head, making him look fashionable and bright. Without the smoky makeup, her facial features looked a little immature, but she had the advantage of being delicate and upright. The most important thing was that this child's skin was white, the kind that girls would be jealous of. Coupled with the white shirt and black pants, he did not look like the arrogant and heroic young man from before. He looked like a good boy with a white face. You. How did you? The impact of a non-mainstream and rebellious young man suddenly becoming sunny and fresh was so great that Su Yiyen did not react for a long time. Hua Chenhuan's face darkened. His intuition told him that this idiotic bastard was deliberately pretending to be obedient to attract his wife's attention. Chapter 646. Without the smoky makeup covering his face, Jiang Qingwang seemed to be a little shy. When Su Yiyen looked at him like that, his face instantly turned red. And because his face was pale, his entire face couldn't escape the redness. In the blink of an eye, his entire face turned red. It was very obvious. Didn't you tell me that my hair was too ugly and that I dyed it back? I dyed it back. But after I dyed it back, it looked very strange with my original clothes, so I changed it into this look. Upon hearing that, Su Yiyen walked around Jiang Qingwang in a circle and clicked her tongue in wonder. It seems that my aesthetic standards are still normal. Look at you. You've only changed your hairstyle and clothes, but your entire appearance has changed. With your current appearance, you'll definitely attract a lot of attention when you go to school, right? If you changed back to your previous appearance, it would be good enough if girls didn't avoid you, let alone take a few more glances at you. When Jiang Qingwang heard Su Yiyen's teasing, his already red face turned even redder, like a tomato that could burn at any time. Su Yiyen looked at him curiously and blankly. Why are you blushing? I'm like this. I blush easily. After that, Jiang Qingwang glanced at Hua Chenhuan and added with a strong desire to survive, I'm like this to everyone, not just you. Little did he know that his glance had a completely different meaning in Hua Chenhuan's eyes. As expected, this bastard had ulterior motives for his wife. He dared to be so coy and scheming in front of him. How bold. But last time you... Su Yiyen originally thought, you weren't so shy last time. You were very bold when you bared your fangs and brandished your claws. But then she remembered that when Jiang Qingwang went to their house last time, the makeup on his face was so thick that she could dig out 1/2 kilogram of white flour. But although the makeup was thick, Su Yiyen still had a deep impression of his Chinibu appearance when he wasn't wearing it. Could it be, don't tell me you're so shy that you purposely put on that non-mainstream look so that people won't notice your pretty face? Jiang Qingwang was exposed. His whole body stiffened for a moment, but he still admitted to Su Yiyen's method and tried to save his dignity. Don't you think that, it's very cool? I don't think so. Su Yiyen was not stupid. She had already guessed the truth from Jiang Qingwang's guilty and evasive gaze. He secretly sighed in his heart. Sure enough, you can't judge a book by its cover. This white lotus may be hiding a scheming B***tch under her skin. Similarly, some fiendish delinquents may also be a real white rabbit under their skin. When Hua Chenhuan heard this, she could not help but cough softly. She interrupted the conversation between the two and reminded, Yan Yan, old Master Jiang and Sister Jiang are still waiting inside. Let's go in first. After being reminded by him, Su Yiyen also remembered the important matter. She temporarily suppressed her curiosity about Rao and nodded. Oh, right, we're here to look for your sister. Jiang Qingwang saw that Su Yiyen did not continue to stare at him. He breathed a sigh of relief and said, Grandpa and my sister have been waiting for you inside for a long time. Please. Su Yiyen nodded and pulled Hua Chenhuan inside. When Hua Chenhuan passed by Jiang Qingwang, she coldly glanced at him, full of warning. Jiang Qingwang? What was going on? Old Master Jiang was indeed waiting for the two inside. When he saw the two enter, his eyes lit up. He was about to approach them when he saw the two of them. But then, he saw the cold face of the son of an aristocratic family. What was going on? His face was so ugly. Could it be that his unfilial grandson had caused trouble again? Jiang Qingwang. He was wronged. Chapter 647. Su Yiyen didn't notice the brief confrontation between the men. Her attention had been on Jiang Qingran since she entered the room. How are you feeling recently? Pretty good. Jiang Qingran seemed to be a little fatter than before, and her face was ruddy. In addition to the medicinal cuisine sent by Su Yiyen, it should also be because she saw the hope of recovery and her mood improved. It's just a little sore occasionally. It's not very painful, just a little. I don't want to get up. With Hua Chenhuan's experience, Su Yiyen could probably understand what she meant. She smiled and comforted her. This is normal. Your muscles are slowly recovering and you have feeling. This process may take some time. You have to take it slowly. I know. Jiang Qingruan's eyes were very bright. Compared with her previous ignorance, she preferred this kind of pain. This kind of feeling made her feel that she was still alive, not a disabled waste who couldn't do anything or feel anything. I'll give you another acupuncture today. Do you still have the medicine packs I gave you before? It's best not to stop the medicinal bath. It's fixed once a week. When your symptoms are better, you can stop. There are still a few packs. 1 pack a week should be enough for another month. That's good. Su Yiyan asked Jiang Qingrun some other questions. Then the two of them entered the room and treated her one-on-one. Hua Qinhuan and the Jiang family's grandfather and grandson were left outside. After a short silence, Hua Qinhuan broke the silence first. Is this child of yours still studying? Old Master Jiang was stunned. He really didn't understand why he asked this. He nodded stiffly. Yes, she just went to high school. High school. Hua Qinhuan pondered. It's a good time to study. Yes. Yes. At this stage, studying should be the priority. Don't always think about messy things to distract you. Old Master Jiang's eyes were confused. Messy things? Hua Qinhuan's eyes were slightly cold. For example, puppy love. Jiang Qingwang? Old Master Jiang. Puppy love? After a brief shock, Old Master Jiang raised his voice unconsciously. You're in love at such a young age? Jiang Qingwang almost choked. How is that possible? I've never held a girl's hand before. How could I be in a relationship at such a young age? Besides, I'm not in the mood to date right now. Old Master Jiang couldn't help but heave a sigh of relief. Indeed, his eldest granddaughter's leg hadn't even been cured yet, so how could his grandson be in the mood to engage in love? Hua Qinhuan's face darkened when she heard what he said. She looked even more dangerous. You're not in the mood to date now, but you will be in the future? Jiang Qingwang thought to himself, nonsense, I don't want to be a single dog for the rest of my life. As long as my sister is well, I will definitely be in the mood to fall in love. Otherwise, am I going to be single for the rest of my life? However, when he saw Hua Qinhuan's inexplicably dangerous gaze, Jiang Qingwang wisely chose to remain silent. Sob, 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 so scary. Is he asking me to choose between keeping my life and falling in love? What enmity? Did I provoke you by falling in love? However, Old Master Jiang was a shrewd person. He quickly figured out the crux of the matter. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry. It's indeed wrong for a child to fall in love at such a young age. At your current age, studying is the most important thing. If you want to fall in love, you have to go back to school at least 10 years later. Chapter 648. 10 years later? Jiang Qingwang was shocked. That was too long. Old Master Jiang narrowed his eyes and said with a fierce face, What do you mean long? 10 years later is just right. You're not even fully grown yet you want to hook up with girls. If something really goes wrong, can you bear the responsibility? That's all I have to say today. If you dare to fall in love at such a young age or secretly mess with an adult girl's belly, I won't have a grandson like you. Pack up your things and get out of here. Jiang Qingwang. Falling in love is like collapsing. Is it necessary? It's really too difficult for me. Old Master Jiang also knew that his words were a little harsh, but he also understood that this was the only way to eliminate someone's wariness of his grandson. After all, a man's possessiveness was sometimes quite a scary thing. My dear grandson, you can suffer a little and fall in love later. Grandpa is also trying to save your life. As expected, Hua Qinhuan nodded his head in satisfaction after hearing what he said. 10 years later, this guy wouldn't covet his wife anymore. Maybe his and his wife's baby would be able to come out on its own. Su Yiyan didn't know that while he was treating Jiang Qingrun inside, Hua Qinhuan easily solved a fake love burden outside. The two stayed in the room for about an hour before coming out. Old Master Jiang wanted to invite Su Yiyan and Jiang Qingrun to gather together. Hua Chenhuan refused without thinking and quickly left Ji Rao Villa with Su Yiyan. As soon as Su Yiyan went out, he noticed that something was wrong with him. He blinked and asked with confusion and concern, "What happened? Did they make you angry? When you came out just now, you kept staring at that bastard. When he came, he kept staring at him. When he left, he still stared at him." Hua Chenhuan's stomach was full of jealousy and jealousy. Bastard? Su Yiyan was stunned for a few seconds and didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "You mean Jiang Qingwang?" Hua Chenhuan pursed her lips and said in a hoarse voice, "Last time, you looked at him because of his green hair." The underlying meaning was that he didn't have a head full of green hair today, so why was he still looking? "The last time I saw him, it was indeed because of his green hair. Today, I thought it was magical at first. Hairstyles and makeup can really change a person. With such a big change, of course I couldn't help but take a few more glances. As for looking at him afterwards..." Su Yiyan hugged Hua Chenhuan's arm and laughed. "Do you think I can make money by signing him to East City? You want to sign him to your company?" "That's right. Don't you think he's pretty good looking? My company is currently in need of talents." Hua Chenhuan didn't wait for Su Yiyan to finish before interrupting her. "It seems that you have quite a few artists in your company." Su Yiyan was stunned. She did not expect Hua Chenhuan to pay attention to this. "Yes, there are quite a few. But it's too simplistic." "Single?" "Yes, although there are many artists in my company, it's too simplistic. And most of them are in their early 20s, so the roles they take are limited. Like Luo Weibing, Ning Chirue, they are all okay now, but what about in 10 or 20 years? Su Yiyan paused here and sighed. Generations of people in the company walk their own path. The original position naturally needs to be replaced by generations of people. It's like a person who wants to live. It's useless to keep circulating without fresh blood. Chapter 649. The entertainment industry had always been a fast-changing industry. If there was a lack of new talent and cash flow problems, the company could declare bankruptcy. For this reason, Su Yiyan could only find more potential newcomers to ensure that the company could continue to improve. As the saying goes, learning is like sailing against the current. If you don't move forward, you'll fall behind. It was the same when it came to doing business. She didn't want the company that she was going to build to be a short-lived success in the entertainment industry. Su Yiyan was fine, but Hua Chenhuan's face darkened. It seemed that his potential love rivals were not only that brat, but also a male celebrity from a big company. Anyone who could become a celebrity, even if they did not have any other abilities, at least had to have a slightly better face. Hua Chenhuan was alarmed that his wife was surrounded by such a group of handsome men. Su Yiyan saw that Hua Chenhuan's face didn't turn better after he said that. Instead, it turned even uglier. He couldn't help but look a little confused. "Did I do something wrong?" "No." "Then why are you still unhappy?" Hua Chenhuan was silent for a moment before he understood what he meant. "Are you trying to coax me?" Su Yiyan looked calm. "You're unhappy. Of course, I have to coax you." Hua Chenhuan frowned. His intuition told him that something was wrong. Usually, it wasn't the man who coaxed the woman. Why was it the other way around? Su Yiyan was happy that Hua Chenhuan's attention was diverted. His face didn't look as ugly as before, but he still wanted to know why he was unhappy just now. "But you have to tell me first. Why were you unhappy just now? Is it because I looked at Jiang Qingwang a few more times and you're worried that I'll fall for him?" "I'm not worried that you'll fall for him." Hua Chenhuan turned to look at Su Yiyan. He had never doubted Su Yiyan's feelings for him, but, "I don't like you looking at him like that. It's not just him. I don't like you looking at other men besides me. Not even my father, my brother, my grandfather, and my uncle. Except for family." "Okay." Su Yiyan breathed a sigh of relief and teased, "Then I won't look at other men anymore. I'll only look at you, okay?" Hua Chenhuan's tense body relaxed a little. He asked in a hoarse voice, "Don't you think that I'm too nosy? If you don't care about me, I'll be worried." "You're right. I didn't do this. Finding artists should be left to Brother Junsheng and the others. Although I'm the boss of a company, I'm still considered an outsider. Whether or not they have potential, whether or not their looks pass the mark, and how they will be arranged in the future, we still have to bring them in to understand them personally." Su Yayan looked into Hua Chenhuan's eyes and said, "I will call Brother Junsheng in a while and ask him to contact Jiang Qingwang. I just don't know what his intentions are. Also, I wonder if old Master Jiang will refuse to let him enter this circle. After all, the Jiang family was a rich family. They might not be willing to let a rich second-generation young master enter the entertainment circle and become a star." Hua Chenhuan knew that Su Yiyan was giving in for him. The unhappiness in his heart dissipated a lot. He muttered, "If he's willing, the old master won't interfere." "How can you be so sure? The Jiang family seems to have some wealth on the surface. In fact, old Master Jiang's son has been drinking outside these years. The woman he married later gave birth to a son, who stirred up trouble at home." Chapter 650. The current Jiang family seems to be well off, but in fact, it's weak on the inside. It won't be able to achieve anything. Only old Master Jiang can still say a few words in the Hua Corporation. Otherwise, this family would have been devoured by others long ago. Su Yiyan still didn't understand. But if that's the case, shouldn't old Master Jiang train this grandson well? Or does he prefer that woman's son? But after thinking about it carefully, she felt that it was unlikely. After all, the few times they met, old Master Jiang had brought the two siblings. Except for the neighbor once, he had never mentioned his son, the woman he married later, and their son. Thinking about it, he probably didn't like them very much. Hua Chenhuan frowned and said with disdain, "He's too much. Too much. That sister of his can be trained. If he can enter your company, it will be better." Hua Chenhuan seemed to be a little worried that Su Yiyan didn't understand, so she added, "Entering your company means that he is under my protection. The woman next to old Master Jiang's son has something to do with Hua Qihan." "Something to do with Hua Qihan?" Su Yiyan was shocked. "Do you mean that old Master Jiang's son supports Hua Qihan?" "Yes. If not for this, Hua Chenhuan wouldn't have approached old Master Jiang. With old Master Jiang around, no matter how his son was influenced by that woman, he wouldn't be able to set off any big waves." Su Yiyan also understood that the Jiang family's filial son was obviously not on the same side as old Master Jiang. If old Master Jiang really supported Hua Chenhuan, this piece of trash and the three stepmothers would ruthlessly control the Jiang siblings and threaten old Master Jiang to give in at the last minute. Jiang Qingrun was fine. After all, she was a few years older. When her leg was cured, she would at least have the ability to protect herself. On the other hand, Jiang Qingwang looked stupid and was very easy to deceive. After figuring out the reason, Su Yiyan didn't continue to dwell on it. She called Xia Junxing to clarify the situation and gave him full authority to deal with it. As time passed, Hua Chenhuan's birthday approached. As early as half a month ago, Su Yayan had been secretly preparing Hua Chenhuan's birthday gift when Zhang Boqi started this matter. However, it was not difficult to prepare a gift. The difficult part was how to give him a surprise on his birthday. For the past few days, Hua Chenhuan had been accompanying Su Yiyan and was inseparable from her. Su Yiyan could not think of a way to send her away, so she could only ask her uncle, Gu Xiaoyang, and the others for help. After some discussion, they decided to come up with a reason to call him out of his house. Coincidentally, Qin Shueru was going to the hospital for a checkup. Qing Juanhao would definitely accompany her. After the couple arrived at the hospital, they simply called Hua Chenhuan and told him that there was no problem with their company and they urgently needed someone from their family to send a document over. The document was on the table in his room. He was now in the hospital with Qin Shueru for a checkup and couldn't leave. Could he help to send it over? Hua Chenhuan was free at home, so he naturally wouldn't refuse such a request. He immediately took the document and went out. After arriving at the company, he was stopped by several senior executives who had been informed by Qing Juanhao. He couldn't go back for a while, so Su Yiyan had time to arrange. Considering that Hua Chenhuan might come back at any time and their time was limited, Su Yiyan entrusted the decoration of the house to Aunt Fong and several servants at home. She went into the kitchen and prepared to perform well. Chapter 651. As for what to eat on a birthday, it was nothing more than cake, longevity noodles, and other delicacies that were full of blessings. Considering that the cake would take a long time to bake, Hua Chenhuan hurried into the kitchen and turned on the one-way recording function of the live broadcast. Hello everyone, I'm the host, Yan Yan. Today is my husband's birthday, and I want to prepare a special surprise for him, so today I'm only recording and not broadcasting. In addition, after this recording is released, 3 lucky audience members will be selected in the comments section to give gifts. The lucky draw date will be tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. Those who are interested can participate. Although there was no live broadcast, Su Yiyan tried to explain the ins and outs of the matter as much as possible. The difficulty of making a cake was how to make the cake embryo smoothly rise. Su Yiyan used low-gluten flour and mixed in eggs and baking powder. Su Yiyan wanted to make a 3-layer cake, so he simply made 3 molds and baked them together. Fortunately, the Qing family's oven was big enough, so it wasn't difficult to bake 3 molds at once. While baking the cake embryo, Su Yiyan didn't stay idle and began to make other food. Now, let's make the wife cake that I promised you before. The filling of the wife cake is winter melon. As the name suggests, winter melon is made from winter melon. Peel the winter melon, remove the seeds, steam it until it's cooked, then use a blender to beat it into a paste. After that, filter the water and add sugar to stir-fry. After stir-frying, take out the pan and let it cool. In order to make the filling more fragrant, you can add some melon seeds and sesame seeds when stir-frying. Su Yiyan had steamed the winter melon while making the cake embryo, so now it was just right to take it out and stir it. After making the filling as quickly as possible, it was time to wrap the outer layer of the filling. In order to make the outer layer of the cake crispy and delicious after baking, 2 different kinds of dough were needed. One was called the oil core, and the other was called the surface layer. After wrapping the oil core with the surface layer, press it flat, roll it from the outside to the inside into a spring roll, press it flat again, and turn it into 3 layers. Finally, like rolling dumplings, the dough was rolled into the surface layer to wrap the filling. Finally, he brushed a layer of egg liquid on top of the wrapped pie and sprinkled sesame seeds to ensure that the pie was more beautiful and appetizing. It was indeed a little troublesome to make, but it was precisely because it was troublesome that the pastry inside would have layers upon layers after it was baked, making it thin and soft. Su Yiyan made dozens of wife-flavored biscuits and put them in the bottom layer of the oven to bake. Then, he wiped his hands and continued with a smile. Previously, when I was making dried yuxiang shredded pork, I saw many of my audience members asking me if there were any similar dishes that didn't use this ingredient but had this name. Since everyone has asked, I'll take this opportunity to make a few more for everyone. First of all, the first ingredient is called husband and wife lung slice. This dish is amazing. From the name, you can tell that this is a dish developed by a couple. However, it's called lung slice, but it doesn't use lung slice. Instead, it uses beef scalp, beef heart, beef tongue, tripe, and beef. Husband and wife lung slice was actually a cold dish. First, these ingredients were braised and cut into slices. Then, a series of seasonings were added, stirred, and placed on a plate. Su Yiyan's knife skills were somewhat effective in making this dish. The thickness of the ingredients that were cut was even, and the plate was especially beautiful. In addition, this dish was tender and fresh, spicy and fragrant. It just so happened to be Hua Chenhuan's favorite flavor. When the time came, it should be able to gain the favor of the birthday girl. Chapter 652. In addition to the chili lung slice, there's another dish called saliva chicken. The so-called saliva chicken doesn't have saliva in it, but because of the spicy taste, it will make people's mouth numb and they will unconsciously secrete saliva, Su Yiyen said as she took out a yellow chicken that had been plucked clean and put it into the pot to cook. This dish is also a cold dish, so you need to cook the chicken first. But remember not to cook it for too long, or the chicken will become old and fall apart easily. After cooking for about 10 minutes, you can take out the chicken and put it into cold water to cool. This step is to ensure the tightness of the chicken and make its skin delicate and tender. After that, she added various kinds of sauces and poured them over the yellow chicken, and the dish was ready. The last dish is the vermicelli, called sautéed vermicelli with spicy minced pork. Of course, it's not eaten by boiling ants, but the minced meat inside is very minced. After being fried with the vermicelli, it looks like ants climbing on the vermicelli, hence the name. Sautéed vermicelli with spicy minced pork with ginger and garlic was not difficult to cook. After the vermicelli was cooked, the cake base was almost ready. Su Yiyen also started to make the cream to be spread on the base. Fortunately, the Qing family had a kitchen made with many kitchen tools, including an automatic mixer. When Su Yiyen used the blender to beat the cream, the base was also ready. Su Yiyen made the simplest fruit cream cake. After a layer of cream was spread, she mixed some fruit juice with cream of other colors and drew some patterns on the edge of the cake. Finally, she drew an especially big face on the top layer of white cream and wrote, "Happy 27th birthday to my husband." She also surrounded the cake with a circle of bright red strawberries, which looked very beautiful and had the heart of a young girl. Perfect. Su Yiyen clapped her hands with a complacent look. Oh, right, there's also the longevity noodles. Su Yiyen stared at the cake and slapped her forehead. She quickly kneaded another dough and began to make the longevity noodles. The specialty of longevity noodles was that there was only one strip of noodles in each serving. It was best not to break it when cooking, and it was best not to break it when eating. It implied a long life and a long life. This meant that the person who made this bowl of noodles had to spend some effort to increase the tenacity of the noodles, so that they wouldn't be overcooked before they were placed in front of the birthday boy. Su Yiyen pulled up the noodles as fast as she could. Just as she was about to find some ingredients to add in, she raised her head. Her mind suddenly went blank, and she subconsciously fell to the side. Just as her stomach was about to hit the counter on the side, something like an airbag suddenly popped out and supported her, preventing her from bumping into anything. The dizziness only lasted for a moment. Su Yiyen quickly reacted and reached out to hold on to the cabinet on the other side to steady herself. At the same time, a sharp mechanical voice sounded in his mind. Warning! Warning! It has been detected that the host is in a state of excessive fatigue. If this continues, it is likely to threaten the safety of the cubs. Please rest as soon as possible to restore your physical strength and ensure the safety of the baby. I repeat, please. Su Yiyen could no longer hear the rest of the system's words. She widened her eyes in shock, and only two words kept repeating in her muddled mind. Cubs. Was it what she thought it meant? Chapter 653. Su Yiyen was stunned for a few seconds before her expression suddenly changed. She asked in surprise and fear, System, what do you mean by that? I have a baby, right? I have a baby. How is the baby? Host, please rest assured that the baby is fine for the time being. It's just that the host's body is weak due to exhaustion, which is not conducive to the baby's good development. I advise the host to rest well during this period of time. Only by resting well can you better ensure the baby's safety and good development. When Su Yiyen heard the system's words, she felt relieved and a little scared at the same time. She reached out and touched her stomach, which had not changed. She thought about how she and Hua Chenhuan's baby was already in there, and she did not know about it at all. Just now, System, were you the one who protected me and the baby just now? There was no sound in her mind. Just when Su Yiyen thought there would be no response, she heard the familiar mechanical voice in her mind again. Yes. Su Yiyen's hand subconsciously tightened and she said sincerely, thank you. With such an episode, Su Yiyen naturally did not dare to stay in the kitchen and work anymore. Fortunately, all the things she needed were basically ready. The remaining longevity noodles could be cooked by Aunt Fong when Hu Chenhuan came back. Su Yiyen still found it hard to believe that she was pregnant under such circumstances. She touched her stomach and confirmed with the system several times. Fortunately, the system understood her excitement of being a mother for the first time and replied good-naturedly time and time again. Otherwise, it would have been on standby. After about 10 minutes, Su Yiyen's feverish had finally cooled down a little. She began to ask about the baby in her stomach. How old is the baby? The system gave a rough time. Su Yiyen calculated. It seemed to be the night she and Hu Chenhuan were at the top of the mountain. Su Yiyen's face turned red when she thought about it. Did she overdo it for a certain someone? They had only done it a few times from the time they officially consummated their marriage until that night, and now, however, she seemed to have thought of something and her eyes narrowed. Wait a minute, system. When Chenhuan and I were doing that, could it be that the system was practically hiding in her body now? When she was working with Hu Chenhuan, wouldn't it be able to see everything? Was there any privacy left? The system seemed to have been rendered speechless by Su Yiyen's question. After a long while, it finally replied. The system has an underage protection mode. When the host kisses his partner, the system will automatically mosaic the image of the system. If the host exceeds the limit, the system will enter dormant standby mode by default. So, your kissing is like a mosaic in my eyes, and everything below the neck is on standby mode. What do you have to worry about? Do you really think I'm interested in watching your disgusting AB-18 scenes? This system is still a baby. When Su Yiyen heard the system's words, he heaved a sigh of relief. At the same time, he was a little confused. Underage? How could a data system be divided into adults and minors? Since its existence, the system has been in use for less than a year. Based on this, it seemed to be even older than that stupid dog of yours. No, it was an advanced intelligence system. Why did it have to be compared to that stupid dog? Perhaps the virus had entered its brain and caused it to lose its intelligence. Chapter 654. Although Hu Chenhuan had been invited to deliver documents to Qing Juanhao's company, it wasn't easy to fool him. The higher-ups of Qing Juanhao's company tried their best to buy time for their boss, but in the end, they couldn't keep him for long. Hu Chenhuan didn't stay for more than an hour at Qing Juanhao's company before he hurried back to the Qing residence. Even so, by the time he got home, it was almost nightfall. Hu Chenhuan furrowed his eyebrows when he saw that the room was pitch black without even a single light. He sensed that something was amiss. Did everyone in the family go out, or? Hu Chenhuan walked in suspiciously and cautiously. Just as he reached the living room and was about to turn on the lights in the house lit up. The lights in the room lit up first. At the same time, with a few bangs, beautiful ribbons and confetti flew toward Hu Chenhuan. In just a moment, they covered his head. Hu Chenhuan instinctively reached out to block them. His expression was grave and confused. When he took a closer look, he realized that many people had gathered in the house. Many of them were still holding confetti that hadn't been put away. The main culprits who had just sprayed him with black ribbons were these people. In front of them was a table full of sumptuous dishes and a beautiful 3-layer cake. You guys, before Hu Chenhuan could finish speaking, everyone shouted happily, "Happy birthday!" Birthday? Hu Chenhuan was stunned. Then, his expression darkened. He didn't feel the slightest bit of joy from being blessed. Su Yiyen seemed to have expected this. Before he could lose his temper, he hugged him and coaxed in a low voice, "Everyone's here. I'll explain it to you later." Su Yiyen's words calmed Hu Chenhuan down a little. Since there were so many acquaintances present, he couldn't lose his temper. He could only silently let Su Yiyen pull him to the table. There were not many people who came to attend this birthday party. Other than old Master Cheng and Qin Shueru, there were only a few old men who came after hearing the news. After getting along for nearly half a month, everyone could be considered to be familiar with each other. Naturally, there was nothing taboo between them. As soon as they saw Su Yiyen pulling Hu Yao over, they couldn't help but tease, Huizi is really lucky to be able to marry our Yan Yan. Yan Yan spent an entire afternoon cooking this table of dishes. It took him a lot of effort. Isn't it? Look at the cake in the middle of the table. I've lived for so many years, but this is the first time I've seen such a big and beautiful cake. The white layer on top is made of milk and eggs. It looks delicious. Old man Cheng, why didn't you ask Yan Yan to make you a cake like this for your birthday? In the end, the new person has replaced the old. An old man like you is not as lovable as a young man. Old Master Cheng snorted when he heard that. His old face pulled a long face and he was very unhappy. He couldn't help but feel that the reason why Old Man Li had become his sworn enemy every day was not without reason. Old Man Li could accurately poke his Achilles heel every time, making him gnash his teeth in hatred. Just like this time, Su Yiyan held a birthday party for Hua Chenhuan and made him such a big cake. Although Old Master Cheng understood in his heart, he was very jealous in his heart. Old Man Li just had to point it out. He really wanted to pick up a broom and chase him out. Seeing that a good birthday party was about to turn into a family conflict, Su Yiyan really had to hand it to Old Man Li's temper. I only learned to make this cake recently. If Grandpa likes it, I'll make you a bigger and more beautiful one after your birthday this year. Chapter 655. Only then did Old Master Cheng's expression lighten up. He turned to glance at Grandpa Li and snorted with a smug look on his face. Grandpa Li touched his nose. He was just used to teasing a certain someone. He realized that the timing wasn't right, so he didn't continue to talk back. Su Yiyan breathed a sigh of relief. He reached out to hold Hua Chenhuan's hand under the table and intertwined their fingers. Hua Chenhuan was stunned, and his tense expression finally eased a little. Su Yiyan saw that he wasn't in high spirits, so he didn't force him to stay in the hall. After talking to a few people, he took Hua Chenhuan back to the house. The others didn't pay much attention to it. They just thought that the two of them wanted to talk alone and enjoy some alone time. They still had a table full of dishes to eat, so they didn't pay much attention to them. As soon as the door was closed, Su Yiyan couldn't wait to kiss him. Hua Chenhuan was shocked, but he reacted quickly and took the initiative. He had to admit that kissing could be used as a fire extinguisher sometimes. Of course, the premise was that the person who kissed him was also the person he liked. Otherwise, the fire extinguisher might turn into an oil barrel. After the kiss, Su Yiyan stole a glance at Hua Chenhuan's expression. He lowered his head and said softly, "I know you don't like to celebrate birthdays. Today's matter was indeed my own decision. If you're angry, you can scold me. Don't keep it in your heart." Of course, he couldn't bear to scold him. Looking at the hairpin on top of Su Yiyan's head, Hua Chenhuan sighed. "When did you start preparing?" "A week ago." Su Yiyan looked up at Hua Chenhuan. His slightly bright eyes were full of praise. "The decorations in the house just now, as well as the ribbons and firecrackers, were all bought by me. I also made all the dishes on the table, especially that big cake. I worked for a long time to make the patterns on it." Hua Chenhuan looked at Su Yiyan in high spirits. The lines on his face softened for a moment, but it was only for a moment. He was silent for a moment and continued to ask, "How did you know that today is my birthday?" "Uncle Zhang was with me before I came." Hua Chenhuan pursed her lips. Just as she was about to continue, someone knocked on the door. "Sister Yan Yan?" "He's here." Su Yiyan immediately recognized Aunt Fang's voice. She hurriedly got up and ran over to open the door to take the noodles. "This is the longevity noodles I specially made for you. Hurry up and eat it while it's hot. It's going to burn if it's left for too long." "Longevity noodles?" Hua Chenhuan stared blankly at the bowl of noodles in Su Yiyan's hands. "These are birthday noodles. There's only one noodle in this bowl. Remember not to break it when you eat it. Eat it from the beginning to the end so that you can receive the blessing." Hua Chenhuan listened to Su Yiyan's superstitious rambling. For a moment, he didn't know what to say. Su Yiyan seemed to see his hesitation. She pursed her lips and said pitifully, I saw that you were unhappy just now, so I didn't let you blow out the candles and make a wish. Now, at least eat the noodles. I've been pooping for a long time. Blow out the candles and make a wish? Su Yiyen was stunned. She suddenly remembered that most people in this era didn't have any special thoughts about their birthdays, let alone eat cake and blow out the candles and make a wish. When your parents were still alive, how did you celebrate your birthday every year? Hua Chenhuan was stunned. The hand holding the bowl tightened subconsciously. They would take some time out to take me out to play. Then, we would have dinner together in the evening. Chapter 656. It was a simple itinerary, but now it was out of reach. It would never happen again. It's okay. I'll be with you on your birthday. Next year, we'll have our baby together. Hua Chenhuan smiled and said nothing. Su Yiyen didn't force him. She reminded him, eat the noodles first. I have a gift for you. What gift? I'll tell you after you finish the noodles. Hua Chenhuan stared at her for a long time. He was sure that she would only tell him after he finished eating. After hesitating for a moment, he picked up the bowl and ate silently. Eat slowly. Don't stop eating. Su Yiyen was still a little worried when she saw him eating, so she reminded him. Hua Chenhuan didn't have much of an appetite, but he didn't eat much just now. Besides, the longevity noodles were meant for a festive occasion, so Su Yiyen didn't ask Aunt Feng to cook too much for him. This bowl was just enough to fill his stomach, so he finished it quickly. Su Yiyen saw that he finished the noodles obediently. She didn't continue to keep him in suspense. She mysteriously took out a gift box and put it in Hua Chenhuan's hand. Hua Chenhuan's eyes flashed. He opened the box and found a blue brooch lying inside. This is the birthday gift I originally wanted to give you. It's a custom-made aqua blue 4-leaf clover brooch. The 4-leaf clover was also called lucky grass on ancient earth. Su Yiyen paused. She blushed slightly and smiled faintly. No matter how much suffering and bumps you've encountered before, I hope you'll be more and more lucky and happy from now on. Hua Chenhuan touched the 4-leaf clover brooch in his hand, but his eyes were fixed on Su Yiyen. He smiled slightly and said, meeting you, falling in love with you, and having you is the greatest fortune in my life. Su Yiyen's face turned redder. While feeling sweet, she couldn't help but think, that's because you don't know something else. Otherwise, you wouldn't be like this. Hua Chenhuan seemed to have thought of something. Her eyes flashed with anticipation. Just now, was this the birthday present you were going to give me? Have you prepared anything else? Yes, there is another gift. What? Su Yiyen looked into Hua Chenhuan's eyes. After a while, she leaned over and whispered in his ear, I'm pregnant. Hua Chenhuan's eyes narrowed. She didn't even know when the brooch in her hand had fallen off. Su Yiyen didn't hear Hua Chenhuan's response for a while, so the smile on her face faded a little. Aren't you happy? Hua Chenhuan suddenly woke up. Her face revealed a rare look of disbelief. What did you just say? I'm pregnant. It's been more than a month. Hua Chenhuan's entire body froze. After about 10 seconds, he stood up abruptly and began to pace back and forth. You're pregnant? You're pregnant. Su Yiyen was dizzy because of his pacing. She nodded again and confirmed, yes, I'm pregnant. Aren't you happy? I'm happy. Why wouldn't I be happy? You're pregnant. Why wouldn't I be happy? Hua Chenhuan paced a few times and finally calmed down a little. He suddenly squatted in front of Su Yiyen and held her hand tightly. I was so happy that I didn't react for a while. Seeing him like this, Su Yiyen finally felt relieved. She snorted and said, I don't know who didn't want to have a child so early because they didn't have enough time together. I was worried the whole afternoon because I was afraid that you wouldn't like this gift. Chapter 657. Hearing her words, Hua Chenhuan was also stunned. Thinking of what he had said at that time, he said with a guilty conscience. At that time, I also said to let nature take its course. You didn't expect to have a child so soon? Yes. Hua Chenhuan was still a little confused. He always felt that he was still in a dream, without any sense of reality. It was as if Su Yiyan suddenly wanted to marry him. Not only did he marry her, but he also had a child with her. This was the second time in his life that Hua Chenhuan felt as if he was floating on the clouds. It was very unreal. Are you really pregnant? Su Yiyan was amused by his repeated confirmation. She reached out and scratched his nose. Pretending to be angry, she said, "Can this kind of thing be fake? Are you going to be a mother?" "I'm going to be a father." "Yes. Su Yiyan held his hand tightly and said with a serious face, "It's been more than a month. It should be the time when we went up the mountain." Hua Chenhuan's face changed again when he heard that. He looked up at Su Yiyan. "Could it be that your parents are giving us a hint?" "Hint? Hint that the past is the past, and we should start a new life?" Hua Chenhuan stared at Su Yiyan. For a moment, he even thought that she had known something. "You, Chenhuan." Su Yiyan interrupted him and took his hand to put on her flat belly. "This is our future. I hope that you can love this child as much as your parents love you. So, let it go. No matter what happened in the past that made you sad, let it go. We will get better and better in the future, together with the child." Hua Chenhuan's heart suddenly trembled. Looking at Su Yiyan's face, some things that had been heavy in his heart seemed to gradually fall apart at this moment. Perhaps it was because she was pregnant, or perhaps it was because she had been busy for such a long time, but she finally got the result she wanted. Her tense nerves suddenly relaxed, and tiredness came over her. Su Yiyan had forgotten how she fell asleep that night. The next morning, in a daze, she seemed to see Hua Chenhuan get up. When she was about to open her eyes, she heard Hua Chenhuan's gentle coaxing. "It's still early. Be good and sleep a little longer." Su Yiyan's eyelids couldn't be opened to begin with, so when she heard his words, she decisively fell asleep again. When he woke up again, it was almost 9 o'clock. Hua Chenhuan was nowhere to be found. She was not in the room. Su Yiyan yawned and washed up. Just as she walked out, she bumped into Qin Shueru and Qing Juanhao. When the two of them saw Su Yiyan, their expressions became somewhat subtle. "He's awake?" "Yes." Su Yiyan felt goosebumps all over his back when the two of them stared at him. He touched his face in confusion and said gloomily, "What's wrong? Why are you looking at me like that? The two of you were quite intense last night." "Ah." Su Yiyan was stunned for a few seconds before she couldn't help but exclaim, "Which eye of yours saw us last night, wasn't it?" The couple looked at each other blankly. "Last night, the lights were still on in your room in the middle of the night. From outside, you could see Chenhuan walking around in the room, walking around. The Qing family's house was a little similar to a courtyard house. Most of the windows in the house were transparent. At night, when the curtains were drawn, although one couldn't see what was going on inside, if the people in the house walked close to the curtains, the people outside could still see their reflections by the window." Chapter 658. Last night, everyone in the house dispersed after a while and went back to their own homes. Qin Shueru couldn't sleep too late because she was pregnant, so she went back to her room after everyone left. Qing Juanhao noticed that Hua Chenhuan didn't look right at the banquet. He was a little worried when he went back to his room, so he waited for his wife to fall asleep and came out to check on their situation. In the end, he saw a figure walking around in their room like a hard-working bee. She walked around in circles for a long time, making him dizzy. Su Yiyan was also a little surprised when she heard Qing Juanhao's description. She automatically imagined Hua Chenhuan walking around in circles in the room after she fell asleep, but she tried her best to control her emotions because she was afraid of waking her up. She couldn't help but burst out laughing. "It's not what you think. Last night, he was just too happy." The couple was silent for a moment and suddenly realized, no wonder. "No wonder what?" No wonder I saw that guy go out for a run early in the morning. I found it strange. It's 5 or 6 in the morning, and it's not even bright yet. Why would he run? So it's because you didn't welcome him last night. Ahem, I guess he was too energetic and held it in. When Qing Juanhao said this, Su Yiyen's face turned as red as a ripe apple. Qin Shueru pinched him hard and reminded him, the child is here. What are you talking about? Qing Juanhao cried out in pain and also remembered. He hurriedly touched his wife's big belly and said, yes, yes, yes. Dad was just joking, just joking. Baby, quickly forget, quickly forget. Su Yiyen listened to Qing Juanhao's nagging and subconsciously touched the unformed life in her belly. She felt a little hopeless. This guy's first prenatal education class after being discovered was his granduncle's blatant nonsense. He better not be a womanizer when he's born. As they were talking, the person in question rushed in from outside. There were still some beads of sweat on his forehead, but his eyes were shockingly bright. You're up. When did you get up? Are you hungry? Why don't you go in and lie down? I'll bring you breakfast. I asked Auntie Fong to make your favorite seafood porridge and red bean buns. Hua Chenhuan seemed to have thought of something. She paused and asked nervously, can you eat these now? Su Yiyen was stunned for a few seconds before he finally realized that something was wrong with Rao. Last night, she felt that this guy's reaction was too dull, unlike those stay-at-home dads in TV dramas who jumped up and down with joy when they found out that their wives were pregnant. From the looks of it now, this person was simply slow by half a beat. Or perhaps he was stunned when he suddenly found out that she was pregnant and only came to his senses later. Su Yiyen was both angry and amused. It's not like I'm seriously ill. Why can't I eat it? Hua Chenhuan breathed a sigh of relief. That's good. I'll bring it over for you. No need, I'll eat there myself. Then I'll help you. Su Yiyen rolled her eyes at him. I'm not disabled. It had only been a little more than a month and he was already so nervous. Wouldn't he hold her in his arms for the next 7 or 8 months and not let her get off the ground? Thinking of this possibility, Su Yiyen couldn't help but shiver. She quickly threw this idea out of her mind. Qin Shueru listened to the couple's conversation from the side and was really confused. She asked nervously, Yan, are you sick? Chapter 659. When Su Yiyen heard their words, she was also stunned. After she came to her senses, she chuckled and said, I'm fine. Where's Grandpa? The two glanced at Su Yiyen suspiciously, in the front room. Uncle, can you help me call Grandpa over? I have something to announce. Qing Juanhao frowned. Although he was puzzled, he obediently went over to call Grandpa. When almost everyone arrived, Hua Chenhuan also brought a few freshly heated buns from the kitchen for Su Yiyen to fill her stomach first. Old Master Cheng was also at a loss when he was called over unexpectedly. Yan, what happened? Actually, it's not a big deal. It's just. Su Yiyen swallowed the bun in her mouth and said seriously, I'm pregnant. The room suddenly became quiet. Qin Shueru and Qin Wanru, who originally thought that Su Yiyen was not feeling well and deliberately did not want them to worry, froze with worry on their faces. Old Master Cheng's eyes widened, and he could not react for a while. A few seconds later, Old Master Cheng was the first to react. He suddenly stood up, and the crutch in his hand fell on the floor with a muffled sound because of his movement. You're pregnant? Yes. Su Yiyen, who had seen her man's surprised and happy side last night, was very calm. She said with a smile, it's been more than a month. Qing Juanhao and Qin Shueru also reacted at this time. They could not help laughing. You've been married to Chenhuan for more than half a year. It's time for you to have a child. Su Yiyen suddenly stopped eating the bun, and her face turned red. In the eyes of others, they had been married for more than half a year, but only the two of them knew that they really had sex more than a month ago. She was pregnant just a few days after they consummated their marriage. She had to admit that her man was also very powerful. No wonder she was so excited last night and got up early this morning to run several laps around our house. It turns out that it's because of this. If Qing Juanhao hadn't mentioned it, Su Yiyan wouldn't have thought of it. She turned to look at Hua Chenhuan with a faint smile. Hua Chenhuan felt guilty under her stare, but she did not refute it. After all, it was the truth. On the other hand, Qin Shuaru rolled her eyes at Qing Juanhao, feeling both angry and amused at the same time. She said mercilessly, all right. To think that you have the nerve to make fun of others. When I was just pregnant, who was the one who got up in the middle of the night to lift a barbell? Do you really think I don't know anything when I'm asleep? Lifting barbells? Puff! Su Yiyan's too roused attention was instantly diverted, and the people who were being ridiculed also dropped one by one. Qing Juanhao had never expected that his secret, which he believed to be infallible, had already been discovered by his wife. He had never expected that his secret would be exposed in public at this time. He had really lifted a stone and smashed it on his own feet. He regretted it so much. My wife. At least give me some face in front of so many people. Qin Shuaru received her husband's pleading gaze. She smiled helplessly and turned her gaze to Su Yiyan again. Originally, I was worried that the baby would be all alone after he was born, and there wouldn't be anyone of the same age to play with. Now that Yan Yan also has a child, they can be companions in the future. Qing Juanhao couldn't help but laugh when he heard her words. They are indeed of the same age, but I'm afraid that our child's seniority is a little high. Su Yiyan's expression became a little subtle when she thought about the seniority. It's quite high indeed. After marrying Chenhuan, it's the first time that so many people of the same age and even older than me have called me aunt. Chapter 660. She was already an aunt. According to Hua Chenhuan's seniority, the guy in Qin Shuaru's stomach, who could be considered her cousin, would probably have a shockingly high seniority. Hua Chenhuan was caught off guard, and the expression on her face froze again. Because of this issue of seniority, he was always worried that Su Yiyan would despise him for being old. In the end, it was old Master Cheng who saved him. There's nothing wrong with having a higher seniority. At least, with a higher seniority, only you can bully others, but others can't bully you. The few people present were stunned, but they had to admit that the older the ginger, the wiser. Wasn't that the advantage of having a higher seniority? If they really quarreled with juniors of the same age, the one with seniority would always be the one at a disadvantage. Regardless of who was right or wrong, it was enough to disgust you if you were labeled as disrespectful to your elders. Just like Hua Qihan, when he hated you, he couldn't wait to kill you and cut off all contact with you. But when he turned around and needed you or wanted to criticize you, he remembered that he was Hua Chenhuan's brother. One moment, he called them brothers, and the other, he called them family. It made people uncomfortable all over. The few of them just casually mentioned it and didn't dwell on it too much. After Su Yiyan ate 2 buns, the hot seafood porridge was served. Su Yiyan took a sip of the porridge and then seemed to think of something and asked in a low voice, "You woke up early in the morning to run laps. Have you eaten breakfast?" Hua Chenhuan's heart warmed, and a smile appeared on her face. "Yes, I've eaten. It's okay. This isn't filling up my stomach." Su Yiyan picked up a piece of wife biscuit from the plate on the side and handed it to Hua Chenhuan. "Your wife made you a wife biscuit. Do me the honor of eating one?" Hua Chenhuan's eyes flashed slightly, and there was a subtle change in the way she looked at the biscuit. Qing Juanhao and the others hadn't left yet. When they heard Su Yiyan's words, they immediately became interested. "This is the wife biscuit?" "Yes." Qin Shuaru also picked up a piece and looked at it. "You made it last night?" "I don't think I saw this cake last night. I saw that there were enough things yesterday, so I didn't put them on the table. Also, this thing can't fill one's stomach and can't be used as a main meal. It's better to use it as breakfast or afternoon tea." Of course, the most important reason was that he was worried that his jealous lover would get jealous. It was fine if the wife pancakes were eaten by his own family, but it was better not to take them out. Shueru nodded and accepted her explanation. She lowered her head and took a bite of the biscuit in her hand. Her eyes lit up. It's quite sweet, and it's a little loose. The texture is not bad. Really? Let me try it too. Qing Juanhao hurriedly took one and stuffed it into his mouth. Ever since Qin Shueru became pregnant, she had been eating a pregnant woman's meal and rarely ate these desserts. Qing Juanhao did not like to eat sweets, so he would not take the initiative to eat these things even if they were placed on the table. Because of Su Yiyen's words, she tried one. Wow, it was really quite delicious. Seeing that they were eating happily, Su Yiyen could not help but laugh. She handed the wife biscuit in her hand forward. Hua Qinhuan's eyes flashed slightly, and he leaned over to bite it. The wife biscuit was not big to begin with, so it was not a problem for an adult to eat one whole. After Hua Qinhuan bit it, he directly stuffed the whole thing into his mouth. Su Yiyen was afraid that he would choke, so she hurriedly poured a glass of water for him. Slow down, slow down. If you like it, I'll make another one. Okay. Hua Qinhuan agreed, then shook his head. Let someone else do it. You rest. Chapter 661. Su Yiyen was slightly startled. She thought of Rao's nagging not long ago and didn't know whether to laugh or cry. It doesn't take much to do this. You won't be tired. Hua Qinhuan was unexpectedly insistent. Let them do it. You rest. Su Yiyen stared at Hua Qinhuan for a long time. Seeing that he was not joking, she had no choice but to compromise and appease her husband's inexplicably tense nerves. Hua Qinhuan saw that she agreed and subconsciously breathed a sigh of relief. Last night, he was so excited that he couldn't sleep. Not only did he walk around the room in the middle of the night, but he also checked a lot of things to pay attention to during pregnancy. One of them was that pregnant women shouldn't be too tired during pregnancy. The so-called tiredness was not easy to define. However, in Hua Qinhuan's eyes, anything that required Su Yiyen to do might tire her out. Su Yiyen guessed one thing right. If it weren't for the fact that Su Yiyen might be unhappy, someone really wanted her to not even get off the floor and let him carry her wherever she went. Qin Shueru listened to the conversation of the newbie couple and was also quite interested. Qinhuan is right. You should pay attention to the first 3 months. You can't be tired. During this period, you'd better have a good rest. There's Aunt Fong at home. If there's anything you want to eat, you can ask her to help. You don't have to do it yourself. After that, she frowned and said regretfully, You've been sleepy for half a month. We thought that it was because of the changes in qi that made people lazy, so we didn't think much about it. Now it seems that you're pregnant and you're showing symptoms. Now that she reminded them, the others also remembered. Su Yiyen felt even more guilty. Logically speaking, she should have known better than anyone else about the condition of her body. However, she didn't care at all at that time. She only thought that her period was coming. In addition, she always thought about what Uncle Zhang said before she left. She was focused on preparing for Hua Qinhuan's birthday and didn't think much about it. Now that she thought about it, her menstrual cycle had already passed for more than half a month. How careless must she have been to not think in that direction? Especially when she thought about what happened in the kitchen yesterday, Su Yiyen could not help but feel scared. If it were not for the system, she was afraid that she would have to live in guilt and regret for the rest of her life. The early stages of pregnancy are quite tiring. You've been running around a lot during this period of time. Fortunately, nothing happened. However, it was fine if he didn't know about it before, but now that he knew, he couldn't ignore it anymore. Listen to Qinhuan and rest well. Hua Qinhuan froze as soon as she heard Qin Shueru's words. Her joy at knowing that Su Yiyen was pregnant was instantly drowned by guilt. During this period of time when they were together, Su Yiyen was careless and did not realize it early on. As her husband, he did not realize it at all. In the end, it was his dereliction of duty. Su Yiyen could tell what he was thinking at a glance. She did not care about anything else. She held his hand and said softly, Okay, I'll be obedient from now on. I promise that I won't tire myself and the child out. Don't be so angry. Smile. If you don't know, you'll think that you're unhappy that I'm pregnant. I'm happy. If you're happy, then smile. Hua Chenhuan, Su Yiyen saw a trace of speechlessness in her man's eyes. She smiled slightly and picked up another wife biscuit to feed him. Here, eat another one. Her original intention was to let Hua Chenhuan eat it and not mind. However, she did not expect that it would provoke the only lonely person present to complain bitterly. Poor old man. No one cares whether he ate breakfast or not. Humph. You're tuning into the Dreamy Love Stories YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.